seed sovereignty is food sovereignty. You can't have if you don't have control over the full life cycle of the crops that you grow, you always are dependent on other sources, and that can be sort of from a national food sovereignty perspective, or from a single farm or bioregion perspective, or network of farm perspective. And we just became very conscious that basically no commercial seed crops are grown in Scotland, and until very recently, no seed crops were grown in Scotland, really hardly at all, of vegetables. There's the brilliant Seeds of Scotland who have started now, who are friends. Um, that's very exciting. And they're the first seed company in Scotland for decades, but obviously they're very small, and traditionally, foodways and varieties of foods and have developed by people selecting and saving seed on farm, and so that is significant for us. But also, we currently, yeah, most of the seed we grow is grown probably not even in the UK. It's grown in continental Europe, possibly further afield, but usually Europe. And the so it's not really adapted to our growing conditions. And so when we're doing something that's quite difficult and marginal already, growing fennel, that the genetics of that fennel has never experienced anything other than central Italian growing conditions, and then you plonk it in a field in coastal eastern Scotland, um, can be quite yeah. You're not allowing the plant to express itself and to the full, um, and therefore get your best crop performance and best yield. So we're very interested in that idea in general, and so we've started saving some of our own seed, not huge amounts, but some of our own seed. Like we started with the early ones, like easy ones, sorry, like tomatoes, fruiting crops that where they produce seed as part of producing the fruit that you eat, um, and immediately saw an improvement year on year. So we've been saving some varieties of tomato seeds now for 5 years. And when we first did it, we saved some ox heart sort of beefsteak tomatoes in our first year, and then germinated those the following year alongside our cherry tomatoes that were all bought in seed, and they germinated faster than any of the bought in seed, grew faster and stronger than any of the bought in seed, and actually we had ripe beef tomatoes, ox heart tomatoes, before we had any ripe cherry tomatoes that year. So within one
Wow.
generation, that selection, freshness of seed, some adaptation was beginning to happen. Um, and so that was like a real, like, very motivating moment to be like, you can instantly see the benefit.